Hello, Patreon supporters.
I am so excited about this newest episode because Katie's going to tell me something that she learned in England
Edinburgh,
while she was
Scotland.
there. Oh, Scotland.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh.
We don't need the Scots coming for us being like, hey, absolutely
Excuse
not.
me.
Yeah, I went on a long trip. Well, it was about 12 days. And in that time we did Scotland, England, and Wales. That was too many activities for that number of days. Is something I learned about myself is that, that could have been, we could have cut England out because I've been to England 100 times before. Yeah. But no, so we went to Scotland and we did a tour in Edinburgh. And I'm going to tell you a story about a woman that I learned on that tour. But before we get started, I mean, I was kind of being like, maybe we could talk like pop culture stories and stuff, but up top, but everything is election. And I'm just politicsed the fuck out. I don't want to think about it anymore.
And probably after this comes out, we'll probably know maybe.
Yeah. So we are recording this on Sunday and election day is Tuesday. So this might not even be out by the time that of election day. But did you do early voting?
Yes, I am done.
I am done.
Dunzos. Like, I have had so much anxiety and so much, I just need to disconnect.
I just need
sort of vibes.
Oh, I am making Tuesday just like the busiest day of my life. I'm going into the office. I'm going to come home and take everything out of my fridge and freezer and deep clean my fridge and freezer and then put everything back in. I've made a huge list of chores for myself.
Working through that anxiety. Use the anxiety to do things.
That is, I'm going to take
That's
the dog.
adulting.
Yes.
That is adulting, is learning that, I have all this anxiety. Let me put it somewhere that is actually productive.
Right. And
instead of me biting the inside of my lip
all day
obsessively.
Long.
Yes. Because it just has not been fun.
It has not been fun at all. Good God. But what's something going on that's not?
What's real fun is that I watched something on Netflix called the Manhattan Alien Abduction.
Oh. What's that about?
Just
a Manhattan
what it sounds
alien.
like.
There was an alien abduction but was that in recently? Was that in the 70s?
No, this was in whenever the blackout in New York City happened around that time. So 80s, 90s, in that era.
I don't know.
And I cannot give away any spoilers, but
okay.
Katie, if there was an alien abduction in Manhattan, what would make that different than if there was an alien abduction in a cornfield in Kansas? A
lot of people would see it.
Exactly. So that's where it kind of differs.
Right.
So there are some eyewitnesses and there's lots of this and it's one of those that you can quickly go down a rabbit hole and it's so much fun. So I highly recommend. Recommend.
Yeah, I really have.
What about you? Have you seen anything?
I watched
Pamela Take My Pamela.
Pamela Take My Pamela. That was so cute. On the flight from, the flight back home, because the flight home to Texas is an hour longer than the flight to London. So it's 10 hours on the way back. So I binged the entirety of the show, The Perfect Couple, on Netflix. Have you seen it? It's like a murder mystery.
I haven't.
But no, yeah, so I binged The Perfect Couple on the way back, and it's like a murder mystery starring Nicole Kidman and Dakota Fanning.
Ooh.
And it kind of falls into all the tropes of murder mysteries, but I liked it. If you got a long flight and you need something to watch, hey,
it's there.
It's there. And I love Netflix. You can download everything before you go. Yeah.
Speaking of things that are coming out, Wicked.
Wicked. Yes. I'm so excited.
Oh.
I'm so excited for Wicked. That is going to be so much fun. I am so in love with Jonathan Bailey after I watched that super sad series that he was on, Fellow Passengers. I I've never really cared about Ariana Grande before. I've never really thought about her before. And now she is like all over all of my feeds because of Wicked. And
I'm just wondering, because you've always told me a little bit about the drama with Ariana Grande and always like kind of going after married men. So I'm like, who did she?
She's still with SpongeBob.
Okay, she's still with SpongeBob, because I was honestly wondering. I was like, who'd she steal this time?
I'm pretty sure she's still with SpongeBob.
Okay, she's still good for her. Good for her.
Yeah. You know what? There's a lot of people saying, you know, like at her heart and soul, Ariana Grande is just the biggest theater kid in the world. So maybe that she just needed, maybe this will be her forever guy, because she just needed someone to match her freak, and that freak was Extreme Theater Kid.
And hey, I am here for it.
Yeah.
But speaking of Wicked's, it's coming out in a few days, but I got to see it, the original cast in New York City on Broadway.
No big
except
deal.
I didn't. Except
you've never mentioned that before.
Not so fun story is I got to see most of the original cast because apparently they went on strike. I did get to see Joel Grey, which was great, but I did not get to see Idina or Kristen Chenoweth, which was devastating.
So not really the original cast.
No,
the original cast understudies.
There was. It was still amazing.
Yeah,
obviously.
I'm sure.
But
I saw it here in Austin.
Joel Grey. I got to see Joel Grey.
I saw it here in Austin at the Bass, and that was fun. And I don't want to suck. Why are you telling us to suck on anything, Nathan? I'm happy for you.
Joel Grey.
Okay.
I might be a cabaret nerd. I don't know.
Then what did you think about John Mulaney's thing on SNL last night?
It was great. It was hilarious.
If anybody doesn't watch Saturday Night Live, if you're not in the United States, I know it's harder to anyway. Every time John Mulaney hosts, they do a ridiculous musical number, and it's just parodies of a bunch of different Broadway songs. And last night, they were talking about the Timothée Chalamet lookalike contest, and it's like, and Chalamet. Oh my God.
It was great.
That was great. It's very we are the exact right target audience for, because I'm sure there are so many people that watch SNL that when John Mulaney does his like big musical number, everyone's like, ugh, or a lot of people are. He's like, this is not for you. It's for
Katie and Nathan.
It's for the burnt out theater kids who are now burnt out theater adults.
Truth.
But Nathan, do you want to hear a story that I think you've probably never heard before?
I'm excited. I'm excited for some Katie's story time.
Yes.
Scotland version.
So yeah, like I was saying, when I not that long ago just got back from a trip. We went to Scotland for a wedding. My husband's cousin got married. We went to England just to see friends. And then we went to Wales for my husband's college reunion. And also, I'm not going to have time to talk about it in this one, but we went to the Cardiff Castle in Wales. And my friend Claire, who for a really long time ran a history blog, and she is a Welsh historian, like that's what she got her degree in and stuff. We went to the Cardiff Castle with her, and we didn't need a tour guide because she was telling us everything.
She's like, hey, hold my beer, tour guide.
Yes. It was really cool. There is a room in Cardiff Castle where up on the wall, it's not like a tapestry. It is painted up on the wall. But you know how back then they would have tapestries tell a story? It is a painting up on the wall of Empress Matilda escape. You know how there was that part of her story where she like had to escape a tower in the middle of a snowstorm, so she dressed all in white, and that's depicted up on a wall in Cardiff Castle.
Super cool.
Yeah, and so that was really cool. But we started our UK tour in Edinburgh, and I had never been to Scotland at all before. Edinburgh was a really, really cool city that I'd love to go back and spend more time in. We had 5 days there, but there was also a lot of like, we were there for a wedding, so there's a lot of like family stuff. So I'd like to go back and just explore for more time. But like I do pretty much anytime I go to a new city, I like to do those walking tours. We've done them together in like New Orleans and stuff. Like I love to do walking tours. Get your steps in, learn some history, meet some people. Love it. And so we did a tour with this company called City Explorers. And so if anybody is ever in Edinburgh and wants to do a walking tour, City Explorers is awesome. You don't pay for the tour. You tip the tour guide afterwards. So it's free to go on, and then you just pay what you think it's worth. We did like 20 pounds a person because our tour guide was this guy named Fraser, and he was so good. Because don't you agree? A tour guide can make or break if you have.
Well, yeah.
Like
it's the difference between listening to a boring history podcast and listening to Queen.
Yes, exactly. Perfect analogy. But Fraser was wonderful. He was an Edinburgh native. And I want to shout him out for a couple reasons. One, like I said, he was awesome. He brought like a really fun energy. He was really interesting. He was really funny. And two, because he made sure anytime he could to fit in stories of women from Edinburgh. That like normally go unmentioned in a lot of these tours.
For sure.
And he said one fact that just made me go, damn. He goes, we were in like a certain part of like downtown Edinburgh, but he was like, in this walking tour, there are more statues of dogs than there are of women, because there are 2 statues of dogs in this part of Edinburgh and only 1 statue of a woman. And that woman is Queen Victoria. So she's not even Scottish, like.
And Katie's sitting there and she's like, now I am a fan of dogs.
I do.
I do love a good dog.
I do love a good dog statue.
But that does have a cultural sort of speaking to women not being more than animals.
Right. But not having as much
more
of
representation.
An impact. Yes.
Yeah.
But so he was like, I'm going to make sure that I still tell those stories, even though you're not necessarily seeing their statues. Because there were a lot of really cool statues on the way. There was like one of Charles II. Like I said, that one of Queen Victoria. So there's lots of really cool stuff. But I just love that he was like, no, I'm going to make sure I'm telling the stories of the women that aren't being represented here, because we had some really cool ladies come from Edinburgh. So there's this one story, and this is not the story I'm here to tell today, but I'm just going to tell you all about this group real quick. So there's this one story of this group of women called the Edinburgh Seven. So these 7 women weren't admitted to medical school because they were women. And that uterus, you can't be a doctor.
Can't do anything.
Uterus, no.
Can't think straight because you have a period.
Yes.
And you're gonna kill everybody.
Yep. Because I didn't know there's like a Edinburgh has been like a center for medical discoveries and has had a really good med school since the 1700s. And so, in like the 1800s, when these women were like, we want to go to med school, they were like, absolutely not. They formed their own medical school and opened it up in Edinburgh. And it was the first in all of Great Britain to admit women. So that's fucking cool.
Love it.
Yeah. And then there's this other woman named Elsie Inglis. I hope I'm saying that right. And so she attended this school several generations after it had been opened. And when World War I kicked off, Elsie band together with a bunch of the other top-notch people from that school. And they're like, we want to be medics in war zones. We want to do our part in the war effort. And they went to the British government, who was running the British Red Cross. And she was literally told, my good lady, go home and sit still.
Right? Excuse me, what?
Yeah. And that's exactly. She was like, fucking what? But then, speaking of pardon, the French were like, we could totally use you. You can come over here. We are happy to have you work for us. And so she and her group of female medics served all over Europe in World War I, but she herself specifically in Siberia and Ukraine. And then the day after Elsie got home from World War I, she died of stomach cancer, because this entire time she had been dying of cancer. And she didn't tell anybody because she wanted to make sure that she like was such a knowledgeable medic. She didn't want to be like taken out of the game. And so the fact that that woman doesn't have a statue in Edinburgh, I think is kind of crazy too. Yeah. So it sounds like Edinburgh has no shortage of remarkable women, But today, I'm going to tell you about somebody who is remarkable for very, very different reasons.
Ooh, the way you said that makes me real excited.
So her name is Maggie Dickson, and she's also known as Half-Hanged Maggie.
Uh-oh.
You should have seen Nathan's face. Like, what does that even fucking mean?
Uh-oh.
All right.
I'm thinking it doesn't mean that she has an average-sized pecker.
Oh, God. She doesn't have any pecker, Nathan. She's a woman. So, Margaret Dickson, or Maggie Dickson, was born sometime around 1702 in a town that's about 5 miles west of Edinburgh. And at some point, she got married. She was never she was supposed to be somebody that would be in obscurity for the rest of. She wasn't a king's daughter. She was a regular person.
Hey, I'll meet her there in obscurity. It's
yes,
fine.
Absolutely. So that's not, a bag of dicks that we don't know when she was born. We don't know when anybody. They weren't keeping the records like that yet. So she was born sometime around 1702, and at some point she got married. We don't know when. We don't know anything about her husband, though it doesn't seem like her and her husband had any children, so I guess they maybe weren't married long, and we think she was probably about 18 or something when they got married. But it doesn't really matter because this marriage is short-lived. She and her husband moved to Edinburgh, but by 1723, he is no longer in the picture. There are 2 theories what happened to him. One is he was a fisherman, and he went out to sea to fish, and robbers attacked him and killed him and stole all his stuff. Or 2, he joined the Navy, and then they went off to sea and...
So either way, it sounds like he died at sea
yes.
somehow.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And though, complete side note, history is horrifying. I kept reading that if he was in the Navy, he would have been gang pressed to be in a Navy. So I'm like, what the fuck does gang pressed mean? And it means when the people, the existing sailors in the Navy would go around and basically find able-bodied young men and just be like, if you don't join the Navy, we are going to beat the shit out of you and then drag you onto this ship and force you to join the Navy anyway.
Okay, so that's another way to recruit.
Yeah, so that's one method.
Sounds like you might have a couple defectors.
Yeah. But if you get gang pressed to join the Navy, there's not going to be any record of you joining. There's not going to be any record of you doing any kind of training or anything. So
sounds awful.
Yes. History is disturbing. Either way, the sea now has Mr. Maggie. He is gone. And Maggie just never hears from him again. He is gone forever. And so she's going to be about 21 years old at this point. Maggie is a fishwife with no husband. That's what everything refers to her to. Is what was her job before?
Fishwife.
Fishwife. But now there's no wife part of it.
Just fish.
Just fish. But here's where it's really fucked up. Because there's no official claim of death, there's no death certificate, there's no body, legally, Maggie is still considered married.
Oh, no.
And this is really, really shitty for her because in this system that takes place, she can't file for, my husband's deserted me, or he's obviously been lost at sea.
Yeah.
It's just sort of well, you're still married. And this sucks because there are only so many jobs that women can have in this society. A married woman relies, or a woman, period, relies so heavily
on his income. Yeah.
On having a husband. And so now she can't marry somebody else now, even though her husband's obviously.
Oh, what a predicament. Gross.
I know.
Oh, poor thing.
I know.
I know my husband's dead and I can't convince you otherwise because there's no body. So what am I going to do? She feels stuck.
She is going to have to find some way to support herself now.
Well, yeah.
And so she is able to get a job working at an inn. So she would have been a bartender, help clean up the rooms. And in return, you don't really get paid for that, but you get room and board. You get a room and you get food. And so that's better than starving to death or going back to live with your mom or, whatever. Yeah. So that she's like, hey, this is fine. I'm not going to get rich doing this, but I'm also not going to find myself living on the streets. Another perk of this job is that the innkeeper had a hot son.
Okay, that works.
Yes.
The innkeeper's hot son.
Yes.
Okay, we can go to the room that just
we can work with this. We can work.
Oh,
yes.
Mm-hmm. Vacate my premise.
You know exactly where this story is going. Yes, you do. So the two of them start a relationship. Now, this would have been really dangerous for a woman to do because there's not really contraceptive in the 18th century. And we've talked about this before. So for women, adultery was a crime. And it wasn't for men. Who cares? But for women, it was. And again, we've talked about this before. They didn't have a whole lot of forms of entertainment back then. So there's no TV, there's no Netflix. A lot of them can't read, so it's not like they're going to go read a book.
Oh, no.
So what do you think a very popular form of entertainment in Edinburgh in the early to mid 18th century was?
I don't even have to look at the notes to know this. Because this happened in Roman times. It happened in Greek times. It happened in every time. Executions, y'all. Yay.
Public executions, specifically hangings. In Old Town Edinburgh, there is this district called the Grassmarket. And it's still like a market kind of today. There's grocery stores and souvenir shops and restaurants and pubs. But back then, it would have been a lot more like open air markets and just the gathering place where people came together. And there's a lot of pubs there. Like when we were there in the Grassmarket district in Edinburgh, there's a pub there called the White Hart Inn that has been operating since 1516.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and in that pub, because we popped in afterwards, they have nooses still hanging in the windows, still to this day, because of the historic. That's what people used to do. They would come and get their groceries, do their shopping, and then hop into a pub, grab a pint, and watch it hanging. There was as
oh my God,
Jen from Ancient History Fangirls has said, there was no Pornhub. What else are people gonna do? Yeah.
But I mean, oh God, I can't imagine the tableside dinner conversation of did you see the way his body writhed whenever he was dying?
Yes.
Oh, it was so fabulous. It's what in the hell?
Well, that's because you're a snowflake, Nathan. So
I'm white and I'm brittle.
Anyway, so yeah, Maggie starts working at this inn. She's carrying on a relationship with this handsome young man, but predictably, she's pregnant. The British have this phrase called "she fell pregnant," which it's just
it just sounds like whoopsie daisy.
Whoopsie daisy. Oh no, yeah. And so she fell pregnant.
Tripped on a dick.
Yep. She's got a ye old bun in the oven, and so this is a problem for several reasons. Everyone knows her husband is lost at sea. So her husband couldn't have gotten her pregnant. And even if the innkeeper's son wanted to be like, oh, that's my baby and I love her and we're going to get married, he can't. She's already married. Mm-hmm. So there's no way for her to deny that this is adultery, And what do they do to adulterous women?
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So Maggie is doing everything she can to conceal her pregnancy, which is also a crime. We'll get to that in a minute. And as far as we know, she does. She conceals her pregnancy. I always think of Sex and the City when Sarah Jessica Parker was pregnant and she just carried these ridiculously big bags. So she's just doing that, walking around with just ridiculously oversized.
Covering her belly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so as far as we know, she did conceal her pregnancy. And it seems like the next part of the story is a little murky. We're not really sure what happened, but we think the baby came early. And sadly, it did not survive. Now, there is a discussion around what actually happened here. Was the baby premature and die? That's We've talked about in history, people have 10 kids and only 3 survive to adulthood.
Yeah, that's normal. Well, I mean, I hate to bring up politics, but miscarriages are actually quite common.
Yeah.
And so, the more we try to ignore that is an actuality of life, it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's completely possible that the baby died of natural causes or was stillborn. Totally possible. But more sinisterly, a lot of people say, well, maybe did Maggie kill her baby after it was born?
Oh.
Now, I really hate that thought, but let's also put ourselves in her shoes.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to a lot of triggering things that you can open up a conversation about.
Yeah.
She's like, I will get killed if people find out that I have a baby.
Like, if her boss found out that she had a baby, it would have been considered generous for him to just kick them out on the streets and not tell the authorities. But then, so her and her baby just starve on the streets and her baby dies anyway?
They're going to be asking who the baby daddy is.
Or she does get reported to the authorities. And then she dies and her baby ends up in an orphanage. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying by any means that that's an okay thing to do, but put yourself in her shoes, in that desperation. So we don't know. Did the baby die of natural causes? Did she kill the baby? Either way, the baby is dead. So she takes her baby's body. She wraps him up. I think it was a baby boy. She wraps him up and she takes him down to the shore. And she's going to try to bury him under the sand or throw him into the ocean. I'm not really sure. She's going to try to dispose of the body down there because it's going to be a lot harder for them to, even if they find the body, how will they tie it back to her?
Yeah.
So she goes at night to dispose of the body at the ocean, but there's guys there doing something. And so she's caught. I don't know what they were doing down there, fishing.
Probably.
But they're just what are you doing? Because women aren't walking around at night by themselves, and they're not risking that unless they're doing something nefarious. So what are you doing? And she's like, oh, my baby died, so I was going to give it a burial at sea. She's caught. And, Scotland was a Christian nation. I think by this point, the bulk of the population had gone from Catholicism to Protestantism. But still, you didn't just... Even if a baby died, you're going to give it a Christian burial. So it's the people are like, that doesn't track. So if you're a grieving mother in this society, why aren't you? No, something is going on here. And we think you killed this baby.
Well, they've probably seen something like that before.
Yeah.
I would assume that that's not something new that you would have experienced in that culture of a woman just trying to be like, oh.
Yeah, especially with these laws around and everything.
Yeah.
So Maggie is apprehended and she's brought to the police. She is convicted of both adultery and murdering her newborn child. So Maggie, you in danger, girl.
Oh, God.
There was this law in place in 1690. So it would have still been going on here, which is 30, 40 years later. And it was called the Infanticide Act. And it was put into place for this exact situation. And it was really, really strict around, obviously, killing babies is illegal.
Yeah, because infanticide does not mean you're fantasizing about infants.
No.
It's the exact opposite of that.
So this law said, obviously killing your infants is illegal, but it had this entire part of it that stipulated that it was also illegal to conceal a pregnancy and to give birth on your own because you're putting the baby's life in danger by not seeing a doctor, by trying to. Now, in 1809, they actually replaced this law with a different law, and it didn't make concealing your pregnancy or giving birth without a doctor punishable by death. It was punishable by 2 years in prison. But it's not 1809 yet.
Still not fucking great.
I know. So, yeah. So Maggie is found guilty, and about a month later, she is brought to the Grass Market Centre in Edinburgh to be hung. Oh, yes. September 2nd, 1724. So Maggie would have been 23, I think. Maggie was scheduled to be hung. Now, her mother and some of like other family and friends of the family from her hometown that was about 5 miles away, they come to witness the hanging, which like I think that gives us a little bit of information about that she did have a support system in place. So I kind of don't get why she didn't just go back to her mom when she found out she was pregnant. Maybe she didn't want to be a burden, make them accomplice. I don't know.
There's also the whole thing of like her mom is harboring someone who
making them an accomplice. Yeah.
Yeah. So you would literally be, that would not look good on you.
Right. But I kind of I love that because her parents could have so easily have been like, we are not associated with our adulterous daughter. Do whatever you want to with her. But no, she had people that wanted to come and make sure she knew that she had people that love her in the last moment and then take her body home to give it a proper burial. So I think that's nice. I don't know. I don't think all people that ended up in these shitty situations necessarily had that. So yay. True. Question mark. Yeah. So the town that she was from, like today in modern day, it'd be like a 20-minute drive. But back then, that's quite a few hours getting there, quite a few hours getting back. So it wasn't like convenient for them to come. And traveling back then was really hard. But they came, and I think that's kind of beautiful, even though the situation sucks. So now I know you're probably thinking at this point that by some miracle, last minute, Maggie is going to get pardoned. You're thinking there's going to be some dramatic scene where maybe her lost at sea husband runs up and he's like, no, I am back. And that was my baby. And and people will be like, but I'm sorry to tell you, no, that is not what's about to happen. Margaret Dickinson was hung that day and was pronounced dead. The courts wrote out her death certificate and they gave it to her mother. They gave Maggie's body to her mother. And because Maggie's family really wanted to take her home and bury her, and they gave her a death certificate and everything, which I want you to keep that in mind, that she has a death certificate that her mother has possession of.
Okay.
Because, like we were saying, records weren't great back then. But no, we have an official record when you were killed by the court, death certificate. Cool. So they head home. They've got a funeral to plan. However, history continues to be horrifying, so we've got to take a quick detour. The Dickson family, before they even got out of Edinburgh, they were attacked by people that wanted to steal Maggie's body.
But why? Why?
So remember,
why are you?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Yes. This is going in my brain. Why do you? Random woman you don't know.
Yep. Remember how I was saying that starting about this time to modern day, Edinburgh has a really good medical school.
Oh, no.
So Edinburgh's famous medical school was kind of at a lack of cadavers to work on. So they started to tell people, hey, bring us your cadavers and we'll pay you. What could go wrong? The idea, I think, is that like a family is struggling and somebody died. They weren't.
It's very morbid, but you can make money off of your dead
and your
grandma's body.
And they might want you to. They might say, "Hey, don't I want to be able to help the family out after I die."
Yeah. By the way, the funeral's going to be real expensive, and we could help with that if you just.
So I think that was the thought process. But God bless them. This actually. A lot of people suddenly went missing when they started doing this.
Oh my God, no.
A lot of newly dead people started getting, a lot of grave robbers started happening. A lot of homeless people started mysteriously turning up dead. A lot of, it was a real good excuse for women.
It was like the purge.
Yeah, our tour guide told us about how they started inventing these steps that were uneven on purpose in houses, so people would be more likely to trip and fall and die. Yes,
it's like the purge. If you everybody's trying to kill each other.
If you owned an inn, you might hope that the person staying with you dies and be like, "Oh, we totally tried to contact their family, but and then sell their body."
Oh my God.
So eventually they had to cancel that program. But at this time, right after Maggie's death, that was in full-fledged. And her family has to fight off this like gang of body snatchers in the name of science. And it was mayhem, but they fight them off. They're like, let's get the fuck out of Edinburgh. And they start heading home again. So a few hours on the road, because, it's like half a day there, half a day back. Once they were outside of Edinburgh and the body snatchers seemed to be out of sight, they are like, okay, let's stop at one of these inns, one of these pubs.
Let's stop at Buc-ee's.
Let's stop at Buc-ee's, get some food, use the bathroom. Yeah, let's stop at Buc-ee's. And so that's what they did. And anyone not from Texas is like, what the fuck's a Buc-ee? But so they go in, they eat, they come back out, and they notice that the lid on Maggie's coffin, which is on this litter, is askew. And they're like, oh my God, fuck. Did the body snatchers come back? Did they follow us? Fuck. Run over, take the lid off of the coffin. Maggie's awake.
What?
Maggie
What the fuck?
is alive.
What? What? How does this happen?
Aren't you happy that you didn't read ahead and spoil the story for yourself?
No, this is crazy. Wait, what?
Maggie's alive.
So she's just like traveling around.
She's just kind of looking around like, what?
Oh my God.
It is super unclear how Maggie Dickson survived her hanging. They go ahead and take her to a doctor, find a doctor right there. And he like examines her and he's like, I think she's okay. I have to imagine she was probably had a sore throat, probably had some, not completely 100% okay, but like to the point where it's like, I think she's going to survive. Like she's, ugh. And yeah,
what?
Some people, so the most popular theory is that the hangman felt sorry for her and tied like a trick noose or something and kind of told her how she can like maybe survive this. That is the most popular theory. Who the fuck knows? And it definitely would have still made her unconscious and stuff.
So it would have like probably had to have snapped her neck in some way to make her unconscious.
But not kill her. But like,
oh my God.
So that is the most popular theory, that the hangman felt sorry for her and he knew some kind of tips to the trade that we are not privy to. And then of course there are some people that are like, miracle.
Joan of Arc.
Yeah. And then there are some people that are like, they just weren't that good at science back then, because maybe the coroner was like, seems dead. But like,
I mean, that is probably the most accurate thing. Is all she had to do is lay there.
Yeah, seems dead to me. And but she was just like deeply unconscious. And then the ride back, because those roads, and you're like in a litter on a coffin, it's gonna be bumpy as fuck. And like bumps just kind of woke her up. And maybe if her body would have been left still, then she would have died. But so there's just all these theories. We're never going to know for sure, because medical records back then, it was just sort of like, oh. So either way, after the shock of all this, they are like, well, I guess we're just going to keep going home. Maggie, do you want to go home? And she's like, well, I don't want to go back to fucking Edinburgh. Yeah. Like,
they tried to kill me.
They had 2 miles left in their journey. She walked the rest of the way.
Wait, what?
She walked home. They stayed in the inn overnight in like the random town in between, but after the next morning she walked home.
She probably has some neck injuries or something.
Yeah,
and she's just like, okay, cool. At least I'm not in Edinburgh.
And if she did have a broken neck, I wonder how, because like our friend Nicole in high school had a broken neck, or like Regina George, and they have that halo where they put like screws in it to make your head stay up straight while it heals. I'm like, did they like fashion something like that?
Maybe she just healed with the wonky neck.
Who knows? But she survived and she gets home. And now what happens next is kind of anyone's guess, but the best guess is that once she got to her village, some snitch thinking he could make some money off of this runs to Edinburgh and tells the authorities, and being like, Maggie Dickson is alive. The hanging did not take. Something funky is going down here. So we got an adulterous baby murderer living her life. And so he's probably thinking he's going to get awarded or something. But instead, the judges just kind of look at each other and go, huh, Well, what do you know?
It's like I can only imagine like, well, she's dead, but she's alive. Huh.
And they were like, well, we've already signed her death certificate. It's already in the records. We've never revoked a death certificate before. And that sounds like a lot of paperwork, honestly. Plus, technically, she has already carried out her sentence. So hang
this is
her,
like a double jeopardy.
Yes, exactly. They're like, if we did it again, she
already got sentenced to hang.
She's already been hung.
She survived. Maybe God was telling us she didn't do anything wrong.
And that's kind of what the judges just land on. They're like, we're just going to leave her. I think she's already...
Divine intervention, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah. Now, there are a lot of stories what happened with the rest of Maggie's life. She basically, I mean, we don't really know, but she did kind of become a local celebrity. We believe she stayed in her hometown, which is called Musselburgh. And the only job she'd really ever had before was working at an inn. So she opens her own inn. She becomes a bartender. And because she's like a celebrity now, half-hanged Maggie, everyone's talking about her, her bar does really well. And yeah. And guess what other crime she can't commit because she's dead? Adultery. So she falls in love.
Good for her.
I don't know if they ever legally got married, but she falls in love, and her common law husband have 9 kids.
Oh, good for her.
And she lives another 40 years.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you go to the Grass Street Market now, there is a pub that has been there since about 100 years after Maggie's death, called the Maggie Dickson Pub, because she's so famous. And so they opened a pub in her honor. Unfortunately, when I was there, it was under construction, so it wasn't open. I didn't get to go in it. But, I mean, it's still, her story is still drawing people to that pub to this day. So her story is just going to live on. Some people say, because like where the pub is would be directly across from where she would have been hung.
Ooh.
Yeah. Some people say that her ghost haunts that pub, but that doesn't really make sense to me because it wasn't open during her life. Why would she go back to the scene? I don't know. But maybe.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Maybe she's just like, everyone's saying her name, and so she got pulled there. I don't know. I don't know how that shit works. But yeah. So
much fun.
That is the story of Maggie Dickson, half-hanged Maggie. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like the Sandra Bullock of public executions, like you double jeopardy. Like
yeah,
you can't get hunged more than twice.
You can't,
or more than once. Excuse me.
Well, I thought you would like this story, so I'm glad. You didn't read ahead and spoil it for yourself either. And I hope the listeners liked it too, except for all the parts that were super bummers.
So let's not get publicly executed, y'all.
Let's raise a glass to half-hanged Maggie. And cheers, bitches.
Cheers.
All right, we'll catch y'all later. And bye.